Hey, my name is Nick D'Andrea, and I'm the Executive Director of We Amplify Voices. At WAVE, our mission is to amplify voices on the margins and to create safe spaces for people to connect with each other. We work with schools and programs in underserved communities. Over 10 sessions, we bring small groups of people together for a conversation. Led by our music producer, we guide them through a creative process to write a song together about whatever they're going through. With our creative team, we record a radio quality version of their song and broadcast it on local radio and on streaming platforms to be heard anywhere in the world. In 2019, a middle school girl in one of our groups shared that her mom had been incarcerated for the past 3 years. They didn't talk, and the girl shared that if she saw her mom, she wouldn't know what to say. She would probably just walk away. A few months later, we had a chance to work with a group of women at that same prison to write a song together. Working with a group of over 100 women there, we heard the other side of the story. Their strained relationships with their kids, the lost time, and how hard it was to communicate with each other. Last year, we designed a project called Bridges of Love. Working with 25 women inside of the prison and 40 of their children around the state, we brought these families together in small groups over a series of Zoom sessions to write songs together. The groups were safe spaces for the families to reconnect, for their kids to see other kids going through the same thing they were, and for both moms and kids to share their challenges of their time apart, but also the love that endured. Our workshops are usually led by music producers who guide our groups through a creative process. But for this project, they were co-led by an experienced clinician. We realized going forward that all of our workshops needed to be led by trauma-informed professionals. We want to hire 2 part-time workshop leaders with more than 30 years of combined experience working with people impacted by trauma. Not only would this make our programs more impactful to those we serve, but by restructuring from a contracted labor model to salaried positions, we'd increase our capacity to work with more programs and reduce our overall cost per workshop by 25%. Over the past 3 years, we've developed a reliable earned revenue model as paid social-emotional learning programming. This past year, we worked with over 350 people around Central Ohio. We shared their stories through songs, podcasts, and videos with a growing audience around the state. Our Bridges of Love project will be released next month, an album of 6 songs created by incarcerated mothers and their kids, along with a full-length documentary of the project that will share their stories to a combined audience of over 250,000. With $60,000, we'll hire 2 part-time workshop leaders equipped to serve the vulnerable groups we work with. We'll have better outcomes for the over 500 people we plan to work with this year, and we'll reduce our workshop costs by 25% by having salaried versus contract labor. With the revenue saved, we'll develop new programs to work with other groups like veterans and diversion programs for justice-involved teens. We'll also expand our marketing efforts to help the voices from our groups touch more hearts and minds and build new bridges of love. Thank you for your time.
I had a question about the album or the videos that you're producing. Are you going to sell those for another source of earned revenue, or are they just going to be like, what's the purpose for it after that video and the music has been produced?
Yeah, so the primary purpose is that the content itself is part of our mission as well, that it's intended to reach an audience where it can change hearts and minds from hearing different perspectives. So that's kind of the purpose that we see with releasing the content. Up to this point, by releasing the music on different streaming platforms, it hasn't proven to be a source of revenue yet. That could change in the future as we reach a larger audience. But as far as like selling physical copies of the music, we do that at events. That's been significantly less over the past year, obviously, but that's something that we'll do going forward as well with these.
Hey Nick, how you doing? It's good to see you.
Good. How are you, Stephen? You too.
Good to see you. Can you walk us through your analysis around 2 part-time staff versus 1 full-time staff or 2 full-time staff? What was your rationale for that decision?
Yeah, so on the presentation,
talk about it in terms of your scalability too, please.
Yes. Yeah, so I actually included pictures on the slide of the 2 individuals, and I think that our plan was very much developed around who the two individuals are that we're working with and what their skill sets are and what their availability is. So I think that informed our decision with creating 2 part-time positions versus 1 full-time. Amber Nicole, who's one of the people we'd like to hire, would be working primarily with youth because that's her training and her skill set and experience. And then Annette Dominguez would be working with adult programming, and that's also her background and skill set and experience. So we wanted to do the part-time positions mainly because of the 2 individuals that we were wanting to hire and how we saw them fitting into our future plan for the organization. Adult programming is something that's very new for us, and we really wanted to find someone that was qualified to lead those conversations. So I think we really just customized it over, based on the 2 individuals that we had in mind to hire. By having them coming on in salaried roles, as far as scalability and capacity, it would really triple our capacity because up till this point, we've been working with, contracted programming leaders who their background is as music producers. So we're kind of beholden to their schedules, and it makes it very difficult for us to kind of have a consistent scheduling when we're trying to work with new organizations. So by having 2 committed part-time staff, it would just it would increase our availability with the programs, but also part of their roles would be pursuing new programming. So they would be helping with that scalability by also recruiting new programming for us to work with.